Okay. If you're feeling sad or down, now we all have moments where we're feeling a little, we may not wake up in the best mood at times, but if you're noticing that it's like a reoccurring thing, it's happening at least 3 to 4 times a week, there might be a sign that there's something going on than just having a moment. If you are a worrier, constantly worrying, ruminating thoughts, not being able to sleep because you're worrying about things constantly going on, or you may have excessive fears, whether it's fears about going back to work, which a lot of my patients are really struggling with. A lot of people are struggling with going back into the work area because of the pandemic and being close to other people. Another one is isolation from friends and family. If you find yourself not being social and you're kind of staying to yourself, that's a sign that something may not be right. You may not be mentally well. If you have an increase or decrease in appetite. Now, I'm not going to lie, COVID brought on a lot of extra pounds for a lot of people, right? So we're going to count that part out. But right now, during this time, if you're noticing that you're eating more or you have a decrease, you're eating less, that's something to pay attention to. Here's a good one: low energy or problem sleeping. Okay, so we may go to the doctors, we may take our vitamins, we may have all of these things that we're doing, but you're still finding that you really don't have the energy to do the things that you usually will want to do. Going to the gym, if that's something that you're used to doing and now you're not doing it, we might want to do a mental wellness check. And of course, being able to get your sleep is so important. If you're not getting the sleep that you need, that's required for you. I know they say 8 hours, but I think that changes with, with people. It depends. Some people are good with a good 5 to 6 hours, and some people actually need 8 or more hours of sleep. So pay attention what's normal for you, not what's normal for everybody else, because our bodies are different. And the last one is, if you're confused, your thinking is confused or reduced ability to concentrate. You're not able to concentrate. You're not able to focus. That may be a sign that you're not mentally well. Okay. So today, specifically, we're going to be addressing signs of anxiety. Anxiety. We all have some level of anxiety. There's good anxiety and there's bad anxiety, right? So sometimes you might have that nervous feeling about something that's about to happen that's great. Like this morning, I was like, okay, I'm excited about this presentation. I had a little fluttering going on in my stomach, but that was good anxiety. But then you have bad anxiety that, let's say if my bad anxiety kicked in, I would have been maybe nauseous. I would have been shaking, sweating. Maybe I possibly could not have done the presentation, right? Because some people do suffer from not being able to speak in public. So one of the things, the first symptom for anxiety is feeling nervous, tense, or restless. Sweating or trembling. Number 3, feeling weak or tired. Number 4, increased heart rate. So palpitations, if your heart is fluttering, that's anxiety. Breathing rapidly or hyperventilation. That's why it's important for us to practice those deep breaths. And number 6 is having a sense of impending danger, panic, or doom. So being paranoid, pretty much, right? So when I was talking about, some people have problems going back into the workplace. They're feeling like they're paranoid because they're afraid that they may get sick from their coworkers, and now we have this new thing that's out, the monkeypox. So that's having a whole nother level of anxiety going on for a lot of people. Now, the anxiety symptoms in adults can differ for anxiety symptoms in children. So those of you that have children or grandchildren, these are some of the things I want you to look out for. In children, you may find that the kids find it very hard to concentrate. they're not sleeping, or they're waking up in the middle of the night with bad dreams. Some kids are not eating properly. You may have kids that they quickly to get anger or very irritable, right? And they may also have outbursts. So we're starting a new school year. Kids have been virtual. Now, some kids did go back last year, but a lot of kids were still virtual. So this is new to them, going back into the school system, being in the classroom setting, and, their new sense of normalcy. So you may have kids that they may start getting stomach aches, or they may have headaches, or they may have separation anxiety. These are symptoms to look for in your children. They may have outbursts in school, or outbursts in the morning when they're trying to get to school. These are things to look out for. They may become very clingy to you, don't want to leave you, want to stay with you. So please take notice of that. And if you're noticing that in your children, you definitely want to get help, because those are definitely signs for anxiety. Now, with anxiety comes depression. It's connected. So you may see some of the same symptoms in anxiety for depression as well. I want to give you some things that to think about that causes anxiety in children, because anxiety doesn't start as an adult. It usually starts in your childhood somewhere. So this is why we talk about generational stuff. We got to be careful. Most of the children that I've worked with over the years that was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, probably 90% of them, if not more, their parents also has some type of anxiety issue going on as well. So what does that look like? Well, as a parent, if we're anxious about certain things, especially when it comes to just certain things in life, we tend to put that on our kids as they're growing up, right? And then our fears become their fears. And that's not good. So if I have a child that says, well, I'm afraid of water, I'm afraid of swimming. Okay, well, what happened? What made you feel afraid? Nothing, I'm just afraid to swim. But when I keep doing the research, it's more connected to the parent. Maybe the parent had a time where they almost drowned. And because they had that experience, they put that on their child. And now the child has anxiety around swimming or anxiety around water because of the parent. So we have to be careful of what we're passing down, or what we show, what we model for our children. Okay. A few other things that causes anxiety in children is frequent moving to house or to different schools. That's a big one. If you're constantly moving your child house to house, school to school, state to state, the child may have some sense of anxiety. Parents fighting or arguing, please, 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 please. That's a huge one. Do not do that in front of your children. Even though you think they're not listening or paying attention, trust me, they are. And it causes anxiety. Death of a close relative or friend. Understand, kids don't understand death. Becoming seriously ill or getting injured in some type of accident can cause anxiety for kids. School-related issues like exams, or if the child is being bullied. And of course, being abused and neglected. Neglected is also signs for anxiety or reasons for anxiety. Okay. So I just want to give you a little bit of both. I prepared for speaking as adults, but I know that some of you do have children and grandchildren, and I want you to be aware of that as well, especially with the school year starting. Okay, so how to cope post-COVID-19 pandemic. So first, you want to stay connected to the important people in your life. That's so important. Stay connected. Stay connected. It's so important. And that can be with your church family, meeting every Sunday, or if their services through the week, that's being connected. So, continue to do that. Go outside and get fresh air and exercise. Some of us are still working from home. And our home has become our safe haven. But we have to get outside. We have to get outside. We have to get fresh air. We have to get back to some sense of normalcy. Practice self-care. It's so important. Be kind to yourself. Whatever your self-care may look like, practice that and do it often. You should be practicing self-care at least two times a week. And when you're doing self-care, it doesn't have to be a dollar sign attached to your self-care. I love lighting scented candles and just relaxing and listening to very soft music or affirmations, or it's so many different types of self-care that you can do to make you feel good. Exercising is one of my self-care things. For many people, that's not their self-care, but I enjoy exercise. And the other thing is working out, even just going for a walk, it balances those chemicals that cause anxiety or depression. So if you're a person that don't want to be on medication and you are feeling like you're depressed, or you are feeling very anxious, being able to go out for a walk or go to the gym, it balances those chemicals. So you feel so much better, at least mentally. You might be sore physically coming out the gym, but mentally you will feel so much better. Be social. Get back to going to social outings and enjoying your life. And the last one is stay away from negative thinking and influences. So last time I was before you, I was talking about even TV, the news. Some of the things that you see on the news could just, it's so sad that it can cause you to be depressed or cause you to be anxious. So be very careful about what you're allowing into your space. The next one would be practice deep breathing and mindfulness. So early on, we were talking about hyperventilating, right? Feeling like you can't breathe or you're short of breath. You want to take deep breaths often. Hold it for 10 seconds, let it out for 10 seconds. Okay, so that's really, really important. Even if you're not experiencing anxiety or depression, it's important to take those deep cleansing breaths throughout your day. Another thing you can do is write down daily affirmations. I am. I am strong. I am positive. Whatever your I ams are, you could post those around your house. If you don't want to do affirmations, sometimes people say, hey, affirmations don't work for me. That's fine. How about writing down your favorite scriptures that speak to you and that speak to your situation, and post them around wherever you're going to be. If you're going back to the office, get yourself the little Post-it notes and post them in your cubicle or your office space. So it's a reminder throughout your day who you are and whose you are. Okay. Safe. Find a safe person to talk to about your feelings. That's so important. You may not want to see a therapist. You might not want to come see me, and that's okay. But make sure you're talking to someone that you can be vulnerable with, and they will protect you. They will give you that safe space for you to just be open and speak your feelings, okay? Whoever that person might be. The next thing is, and this is important, embrace where you are. A lot of times we try to fight out of the space of feeling anxious or feeling depressed. Now, I would say you don't want to sit in it too long, but when you're feeling like that, if you wake up in the morning and you're feeling that way, okay, let me embrace where I am. This is where I'm at, because it helps you understand what may be triggering it. Right? So sometimes it might not be anything that's triggering it. You just may wake up that way, and then you have to decide, you know what? I choose to be happy today. I choose to have a good day today, no matter what. How many times have you woke up and let's say it was raining in the morning, and you woke up and the first thing you saw the rain, you may say, oh, it's not going to be a good day today. Have we done that? So, why is it not going to be a good day? Because it's raining? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You still can choose to have a great day despite the rain. right? I actually love the rain because it helps me sleep. It helps me sleep. So it's not so bad. So embrace where you are, but the tools that I'm giving you will help you move from the place that you are. We can't change. And the reason why I'm saying embrace it, because we can't change the things that we refuse to accept. If you accept, okay, this is where I'm at, this is the space that I'm in. Okay, now what do I do about it? Right? But if you continue to say, oh no, that's not me, no, I'm not, this is not happening to me, then there's nothing you can do about it because you're in denial. You're in denial. The next one would be don't bite off more than you can chew. So if you're anything like me, you're doing a million things at one, and it's like by the time your day is over, you're exhausted, right? So we got to be a little bit more mindful. And again, this is where that self-care come into play. It doesn't mean you can't get it done, but if it's causing you your mental health, that's a problem. Everything does not have to be done in one day or in 1 week. Set goals for yourself, map it out so you're able to achieve what it is that you wanted to achieve, but you're doing it at a pace that's not causing any harm to your mental health. Be realistic about your progress. So, excuse me, if you're a person that write down goals or you have them in your head and there's things that you want to achieve, you may say, I'm going to get this done in 2 weeks. And it's really, in reality, it's something that you probably won't be able to truly get done and get done thoroughly until a month, right? But we hold ourselves to this 2 weeks, and when it doesn't happen, then we are hard on ourselves. But it was never meant to happen in 2 weeks anyway. So we want to be careful. We want to do the time management. We want to be realistic about what it is that we're trying to do and be very realistic about your progress. And one of the things that come into mind when I'm talking about being realistic about your progress is those that want to lose weight. We may have picked up the COVID-15 that everybody saying about, right? But we're having a harder time getting rid of it. So if it's not going by a certain time, we may give up and we may go back to eating or doing the things that kind of cause us to pick up the 15 pounds anyway. So we want to be very realistic about our progress. Okay. Again, practice self-care. I have to keep saying that because it's so important. And then the last one is seek therapy. It's okay to speak to someone. It does not mean that you're crazy. It does not mean that. And we have to take the stigma off of, mental illness, mental wellness, and being able to go sit down and speak to someone. You're talking to, some people say, well, I don't want to talk to anybody because they don't know me and I don't want to tell people my business, right? So you're speaking to someone that has no idea what's going on in your life, and they're not going to be judgmental about that. Okay. They're there to only guide you, not to give you solutions, but to guide you and to give you a safe space to be able to talk some things through. Sometimes when we do talk to our family and friends, they become a little bit opinionated and they want to put their opinions or they want to judge. And that's not always what you need in that moment. So it's so important to be able to sit down with someone that has no connection over your life or your choices. And, they're just there to listen and help you and guide you through some things and give you some tools to help you become successful. So there's some facts about anxiety you should know about. Anxiety is the most common mental health condition affecting 40 million Americans. That's a lot of people. So please don't feel that you're alone. Don't feel like you're by yourself, because you're not. You're not. Many of my colleagues that are therapists, they struggle with anxiety or they may struggle with depression. Over the last year, I've had 4 colleagues that were therapists committed suicide. Okay. So when I talk about mental illness, it does not discriminate. at all. So it's important that you take it serious. You check on your strong people, your strong friend, your strong coworker, your strong family member, because those are the people that everybody dump on. Everybody dump on that person because they feel that they can handle it. And not all the time. And as therapists, we get a lot. We get a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, during this time of the pandemic, you know, those therapists thought they could handle it, and they didn't seek help, and they didn't, you know, do the things that they were teaching other people to do. So the other fact is anxiety can cause physical symptoms that mimics a heart attack. So when you have, we call them panic attacks, and it comes from anxiety. People have been rushed to the hospital because they've had the same symptoms, chest and a pain. You know, for women, you know, they say, you know, your left side, your heart, you know, we got to be very mindful about that. So when we're having these chest pains that we can't breathe, and now our minds is thinking, oh my goodness, am I having a heart attack? So now our body truly goes into, you know, being anxious and tensed up. And once you get there, they run all the tests and they probably say, you're having a panic attack. You might want to see a mental health professional. Anxiety can come out in rashes, hives, stomach aches, you know, migraines, all of those. So this is why it's important when a client comes into my office and these are some of the symptoms that they're having. The first question I ask, have you been checked out by a medical doctor first? Because I want to make sure that it's nothing more. Most of the time, they're being referred by a medical doctor because they have been through all these tests. And the doctor is saying, this is a mental illness. This is a mental, you need to speak to someone about possibly having anxiety. So this anxiety does show up. It shows up physically. So we want to be very careful and mindful about, you know, what's going on. Pay attention to your bodies. Okay. All right. So that concludes my presentation. I appreciate your time. Of course, if you are in need of a therapist, we are doing therapy in our office as well as virtual. You can contact us at 302-292-1334, or simply go to our website, ccddelaware.com, and you can fill out your consent form and all of that. And you can actually also pick your therapist right there online, because we have a lot of therapists there, and you can read their profiles to see what's the right fit for you. It's okay to specifically ask for a therapist of color if that's what you want. It's not a problem to ask that. Please, if you want a therapist of color, just say, I want a therapist of color, or I want a male therapist, or I want a female therapist. Whatever it is that you want, it's okay to ask for that. Okay? Because some people feel a little bit more comfortable with someone that looks like them. Okay? So at this time, I will open the floor. If you have any questions, I am more than happy to share that with you. And thank you again for your time.
Amen. Well, thank you, Shay. So good to see you again.
Welcome. Thank you.
And I see your hair is grown longer.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. A difference a year makes. So my question is, are your services covered by insurance?
Yes. So your insurance will cover your services. We take all insurance except for TRICARE and Cigna. We're still trying to it's kind of hard getting on, especially TRICARE, because it's more like military families that's on that. So it's a little bit difficult to get on there on their panel, but all the other insurance we do accept. We also do self-pay as well. And if there is, you know, if you really need to see a therapist and you don't have insurance, all you have to do is just say, listen, I really need a therapist. You know, is there a way that you can work with what I'm able to pay? We don't turn people away because we know that it's needed. The help is needed.
Amen. Any more questions, saints?
Are you located here in Delaware?
Yes, yes. So we have therapists that goes all the way out to, oh my goodness, lower Delaware, past Dover. So it's like, so I'm in Newark, Delaware. Our main office is in Newark, Delaware. We have therapists in over 110 schools in the state of Delaware, from North Delaware all the way to Southern. So if there's a child that is in need, we have a therapist at that school and we can get them seen at the school. If it's an adult, we have virtual therapy. If you can't come to the office, we're still doing virtual and we're going to continue. I think that's the best thing that did come out of the pandemic, was the insurance company had to open it up and give us permission to be able to see clients virtually, because people was really suffering during the pandemic. Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Any more questions? Hey, we have the therapist right here. One thing I want to mention is with our children. Parents, we have to pay attention to our children. These are the signs and symptoms that Shay listed. Our best. We see our children angry these days a lot. There's something going on. We have to go on and find out what is going on. They complain of headaches, stomach aches, separation anxiety. They cling more to their parents. Let's watch these red flags. Sometimes we try to pay attention to ourselves and not our children with these anxiety symptoms. So we have the therapist here and she's telling us, let's pay attention to our children, whatever is going on in their lives.
Yes, absolutely. Very important.
Yeah.
And they have to be able, I mean, think about it, you know, our children, they really need to feel like they can talk to us about anything. And we as adults, we have to listen, because if they don't learn it from you, they're going to learn it.
Anyway.
They're going to learn it either way. They're going to either learn it from the street or the internet. And that's not friendly at all. It's not friendly at all. And since we're talking about kids, we want to also be careful about, we got to pay attention to what our kids are doing online. You know, try to be friends with them on social media. So you're kind of seeing, you're monitoring what's happening.
Absolutely.
A lot of kids are being bullied online. It's just not in school. It's on social media. It's on social media more. It usually starts on social media and then it leads into the school. So we want to be very aware of all of these things.
Absolutely.
Well, if there are no more questions, Shay, I just want to thank you and I want to tell you how much I appreciate you and your help. This goes a long way. Yesterday, I posted something on the church platform and they were talking about the God you know. And along the line, they dived into anxiety and then the things that goes on in our lives and in the lives of women especially. People are going through a lot. And I know and I believe in my heart that these things are going to help us. It makes the difference between somebody staying alive and somebody committing a suicide. I'm telling you.
Yes.
I know what I have seen. I worked as a mental nurse for a while. People come, they suffer from extreme anxiety and their end is not good. That is why we are doing this, so that we can be able to maintain good mental health. Shay, I love you. Thank you so much. God bless
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you for having me. And thank you
Amen.
everyone for your attention. Please continue to have a blessed day.
Amen. God bless you.
Amen. God
House
bless
of
you.
praise, what do we say?
you.
God bless you.
God bless you,
God
Miss
bless you.
Marion.
So
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank
Amen.
you.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Okay.